After the Mishkan was completed, it was quite difficult for the Jewish people to stand up the Mishkan and allow the Shekhinah to enter into its presence. So they went to the Chachmei Lev who were involved in the process of building the Mishkan, or making the materials for the Mishkan, and they said, please erect the Mishkan. They couldn't do it. So then they went to Betzalel and Oholiav, who were the architects for the Mishkan, and said, please, can you set up the Mishkan? Can you make him the Mishkan so that the Shekhinah can be Shoreh among us, so that God's divine spirit can rest? And they too couldn't figure out how to do it. Every time they tried to stand it up, it fell down. And what did they do? Finally, they went to Moshe, and Moshe was able to successfully be making the Mishkan, as it says, Vayaviu es HaMishkan el Moshe. They brought the Mishkan to Moshe, and then later on we're told that Moshe was Hukam HaMishkan. It was stood up by Moshe. But the question is, why is it that no one else could do it? Only Moshe was able to set up the Mishkan? The Medrash explains that HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that Moshe was sad. Moshe was sad because he had no involvement in the building of the Mishkan. He did nothing, he played no role. And he felt bad that he wanted to be involved. And therefore, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu was sensitive to Moshe's feelings, he prevented anyone from being able to be making the Mishkan, and only Moshe could do it. The question is obvious. Not one person in Bnei Israel was sensitive enough to think that Moshe should be involved in the building of the Mishkan. Every time in the Chumash we read that they did the following action, Kasher Tziva Hashem El Moshe, or Kasher Tziva Hashem Es Moshe, like God commanded Moshe to do. And no one thought, let's give Moshe a chance to be involved in the process. What's going on over here? And I think it's just a stark reminder for each and every one of us, never to forget the people who brought us to where we are today. So often in life we make advances. We all started in humble beginnings, but some of us have been fortunate to surpass our parents and reach higher heights financially, academically, socially, in many different areas. And because of that, we think, oh, look at me, look how special I am, look what I have accomplished. And we forget who it was that brought us to this point, how we got there. Moshe Rabbeinu was the one who got us to this point. It's so obvious. When you think about it intellectually, it's so obvious that Moshe would want to be involved and that we should involve Moshe. But the challenge is that sometimes our ego gets in the way, other things get in the way. We get so busy and we forget about those people who were involved and so instrumental in our lives and making us the people we are. And the same thing we have in shuls, that shuls have a rich history. So many people have stepped up, have been involved in the process of creating a shul and sustaining a shul for many years. But as new people move into a community, they don't always have an appreciation for those that preceded them, for those that paved the way, that enabled them to live in a beautiful community and a beautiful shul. And that's the challenge for us, to make sure at every point in time that we don't lose sight of the founders and all those who brought us to where we are, who made us who we are, and who we will always be indebted to for the rest of our lives. Have a wonderful Shabbos.